In the Bible, numerous peoples are mentioned, each intertwined with the history of Israel and playing a unique role in the spiritual and narrative tapestry of the Scriptures. Central among them are the Hebrews, or Israelites, descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, considered God's chosen people. After slavery in Egypt, they were led by Moses to the Promised Land and organized into 12 tribes. Following the era of the Judges, the monarchy was established with kings like Saul, David, and Solomon, but the kingdom later split into Israel and Judah, eventually falling first to the Assyrians and then to the Babylonians. The Egyptians were among the earliest peoples interacting with Israel, initially welcoming during Joseph's time but later oppressors during the Exodus led by Moses. Egypt is often depicted as a symbol of idolatry and bondage. The Canaanites inhabited the Promised Land before the Israelites' arrival and were seen as idolaters from whom Israel needed to separate. Among the Canaanites were groups like the Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Hittites, Semitic peoples with widespread polytheistic cultures in the region. The Philistines, a warrior and maritime people likely originating from the Aegean, were historic enemies of Israel, famous for their battles with Samson and David, who killed Goliath. The Assyrians were a feared empire. In 722 BC they conquered the northern kingdom of Israel and deported the 10 tribes. Their capital, Nineveh, is often depicted as a symbol of corruption, yet it is also the city that repented after Jonah's preaching. After them came the Babylonians, who in 586 BC destroyed Jerusalem and the temple, exiling the Jews to Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar is the most famous king from this era, portrayed as powerful but subject to divine judgment. The Persians, led by Cyrus the Great, conquered Babylon and allowed the Jews to return to their land. Cyrus is viewed positively in the Bible as an instrument of God. The Moabites, descendants of Lot, Abraham's nephew, lived east of the Dead Sea and often conflicted with Israel, though the Moabite Ruth is a rare positive figure. Similar were the Ammonites, also descendants of Lot, frequently at war with Israel and accused of idolatry. The Edomites, descendants of Esau, Jacob's brother, settled south of Judah and maintained a tense relationship with Israel, even exploiting Jerusalem's fall. The Amalekites, a nomadic desert people, were the first to fight Israel after the Exodus and were condemned by God for their hostility. The Amorites were a powerful and established people in Canaan, major enemies during the conquest of the land. The Hittites, originally from Asia Minor, were also present in Canaan and appear in various biblical episodes, such as when Abraham buys a tomb from a Hittite to bury Sarah. The Phoenicians, inhabitants of Tyre and Sidon, were skilled sailors and traders. They helped Solomon build the temple but were also influential in spreading idolatry, especially through figures like Queen Jezebel. The Medes, allies of the Persians, appear in the books of Daniel and Esther as part of the ruling elite of Babylon. The Greeks, though not explicitly mentioned in the Old Testament, became central during the Hellenistic period following Alexander the Great's conquests. Their cultural influence was strong, and Jewish resistance to their rule led to the Maccabean revolt. The Romans dominate the New Testament world. Jesus was born under Emperor Augustus and crucified by Pontius Pilate. The Roman Empire represents earthly power, often oppressive, but also the context for the spread of Christianity. The Samaritans, a mixed population arising after the northern kingdom's fall, were seen as heretics by the Jews, yet Jesus showed them compassion and acceptance. Finally, the Chaldeans, often identified with the Babylonians, are known for their astrological wisdom and as the people from whose city, Ur of the Chaldeans, Abraham originated. All these peoples, great and small, interact in the Bible as instruments of divine purpose or obstacles to Israel's faithfulness, contributing to a rich and complex historical and spiritual mosaic.